This is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studio. This is The Ramsey Show, where America hangs out to have a conversation about your life and your money. I'm John Deloney, joined here with my good friend and best-selling author, Mrs. Rachel Cruz, and we are here to talk to you about what's going on in your life. Give us a shout at 888-825-5225. Money, relationships, challenges, whatever's going on, give us a shout. Rachel, how are we doing?
Doing great.
Yeah?
It's going to be, good show, John. We did an hour yesterday.
We made it? Barely?
3 hours today. We barely survived.
Barely? Oh, that's so good.
No,
that's
it's so
good.
fun. And I'm excited about tonight. Our money and marriage event is going to be really fun.
We just finished the final block in here a little bit. It's going to be a blast.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
looking
going to be
forward
great.
to it.
It's going to be awesome.
Before we go, I have to just make this public announcement. I was wrong when I bet our engineer here that the Buccaneers were going to lose to my Patrick Mahomes Chiefs. I lost.
Kyle gotcha.
Kyle won. I was incorrect, and I felt it appropriate to. He's reminding me every day
Cheering
how wrong I was. He's that guy that's still wearing Bucs gear. Here we are.
I was going to
like
say.
7 days later or whatever, 5 days later.
Still sporting the hat, Kyle.
Some of us would say,
great.
just let it go, but I know that's the attitude of a loser, so way to go, Kyle. You won. I was wrong. All right, let's go to Josiah in Salt Lake City. Josiah, what's going on? How can we help?
Hey, Dr. D and Rachel. Thanks for taking my call.
You got
it. To keep a long story short, for a little bit now, I've had some suspicion that my brother was stealing money through various sources from my disabled mother. I confronted him about it and let my mother know what was going on. He still has not been 100% honest with either me or my mother. My issue is this isn't a first-time thing. He's stolen from me before. I'm just finding it hard to keep a relationship with both my brother and my mom because now she's looking at as if it's a minor issue, and I'm worried that it's just going to bleed her dry, and eventually he's just going to be gone, and I'm going to be stuck trying to fund her for the rest of her life.
Yeah, man, I hate this for you, Josiah. You're wrestling with, I can hear as you're processing this, you're turning this into a future math problem. But man, I want to bring you back to right here. This just hurts, man, and I hate that for you. What struggles does your mom have?
She's since I was 10, so about 20 years ago, she was diagnosed with ARDS. She's now just got multiple other health issues. She's basically been bedridden my whole life.
That's hard, man. So here's a challenge that everybody with this type of family situation deals with. We love our brothers and sisters, our moms and dads. We are all trained to and socialized, and it's just the right thing. I mean, you take care of your family, right? You default to that. And unfortunately, there's these moments like you're experiencing when your brother is still your brother, but he also becomes that grown man that's hurting mom, right? And at some point, you have to lean into that and do hard things, which like call the police. And if your brother's stealing from your mom and you've got proof of it and your mom is not in a position to take care of herself, then that's the logical responsibility. It's hard and it feels like you're violating that family. What I'll tell you, it's a phrase I use all the time, but it's not by your hand, but it's in your lap, right? You didn't cause this. You're not going to be the result. You're not going to be the person who broke up the family. Your brother is making some really reckless, wrong decisions, taking advantage of your mom. And, now it's your situation to deal with, right? Because your brother's not acting with character.
Right.
And Josiah, does he still have the ability to steal from your mom? Like, is it accounts numbers that he has?
Yeah. So I actually kind of put the kibosh on that. She because she was so dependent on me and him, he had her debit card, and so I forced him to give it back to her, and I told her that because now they have that information that she needs to change her card number and everything.
Immediately, yeah.
So I think that's the right thing to do, brother. And I think it's just one of those moments where you find yourself in a hard position. You didn't cause this. It's not your fault. But now you're the person who's going to be responsible, be the person of integrity that's going to have to turn and deal with it. And so that means getting the authorities involved if your brother is going to continue to kind of be the person that steals from your mom.
Which
and
is
I hate that for you.
Terrible. And then Josiah, too, I mean, I think focusing on the present is extremely important right now, but also to know long-term, like it probably is going to be you taking care of your mom. I mean, if she is bedridden and she doesn't have a way to make an income, then she is going to need to eat, right? I mean, like, and your brother is obviously not a dependable, trustworthy person. So I would go ahead and emotionally say, okay, what can I do to help my mom in the future? Because it probably is going to be you, Josiah. Yeah. So be thinking about that as well.
And those are, we just talked to millions of people who are faced with those situations.
Yeah.
Mom and dad don't want to sign over, accounts, or they can't join accounts. And I'm just starting to do the math on what my future might look like. And sometimes there is no easy answer to that, right?
Right.
But there's a responsible answer. You can pretend it's not going to happen, or you can pretend, this is probably going to be us, your future spouse. We've got to start planning for this financially, right?
What does that look like? Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, let's go to Calvin in St. George, Utah. Calvin, what's going on, man? How can we help?
Hi. Pleasure to be on the show. I'm a big fan. I've been listening for a long time. So I was recently accepted into dental school. And the cost of dental school is really high, as you may be aware.
Yes.
For my situation, that would be in excess of $400,000 in debt to go to dental school. I applied to the military scholarship because I am such a big fan of Dave Ramsey Show and I'm kind of avoiding debt. I applied to the military scholarship. They will completely pay for the schooling, but I owe them year for year of the school, so it's a 4-year commitment to them. My question is it worth the opportunity cost? I could potentially get out of dental school and be making much more than what the military would pay me and potentially pay it off in 4 to 6 years, living under my means. Or should I take the military scholarship that they'll cover and then have that commitment to them? Just kind of what would you recommend on that?
What do you want to do? Do you want to go to the military?
Yes, I do have interest in the military.
Well, why do you want to go to the military? What is it about the military that excites you?
Service to country I am interested in, and I do stand for a lot of the same values they have.
Okay, so I would back up, and Rachel, I'd love for you to hop in here. I'd back up, and you're not going to dental school. You're not going to take out $400,000 or $500,000 worth of loans because you like Dave Ramsey. You're not going to take out $500,000 worth of loans because that's $500,000 worth of loans. And you never know when a pandemic's going to come through and say they're going to close your dental practice for a year and you're going to be up a creek. And on top of that, you're a guy who wants to serve in the military. And the military has this incredible program that's going to pay for it for you. And so if those two interests align, I wouldn't tell you to go to the military if you were just trying to scam the system so they'll pay for something. But if you are about service, which you are, if you love their values, which you are, I think that's commendable and extraordinary. Man, let them pay for your dental school. You're going to serve all of our
Absolutely.
You're going to learn by serving our soldiers and our military, and then you're going to be able to come make a great difference in your local community, brother. I love your heart. That's what I would do, man. This is The Ramsey Show.
Folks, it's an honor to tell you about the Army National Guard. Not only are they big supporters of our high school curriculum, but they also give you the opportunity to impact your local communities. Whether your goals are to get an education, serve your country, or have a better life, the Army National Guard can help you get there. Plus, they offer unbelievable financial benefits. Secure your future today. Visit nationalguard.com/Ramsey to find out more.
Triple-8 825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. This is The Ramsey Show, and I'm John Deloney, joined here with Rachel Cruz, and we are taking your calls on money, taking your calls on life. Relationships are hard right now. Money is tight. Things are just hard. Give us a shout. Let's go to Nathan in Atlanta, Georgia. Nathan, what's going on? How are we doing?
Hey, thank you for taking my call.
You bet, brother. What's going on?
All right, so I'm 26 years old. I'm 24 years old. I'm married to my wife. She's 23 years old, and we have $62,000 in debt, and we make $72,000 combined. And in May, we're about to lose her income for a while because she is going to move into real estate and be a real estate agent.
Okay.
Two of those loans, part of that debt is collection, so our credit scores are pretty much non-existent.
Yeah.
They're really bad. And we have two cars, and one car has $16,000 owed on it, and her car has $36,000 owed on it.
Phew. Okay.
So we can't go to a credit agency and get a loan for the depreciation on her car. Mm-hmm. However, I can sell mine. I have $1,000 equity in it. But I'm just kind of wondering where I go from here because we started the 14-day trial of Ramsey Plus, and we've been doing the financial peace university stuff, but just kind of overwhelmed a little bit right now.
Yeah, for sure. So the $36,000 car, how much is it worth now?
It's worth $29,000.
$29,000.
I only bought it like 6 months ago.
Oh. And have you talked to a local credit union, Nathan?
Yes.
They're outside of Atlanta, of a couple. Have you sat down with them and shown them the numbers? I mean, like you have all the paperwork. You're talking to them. Did you do?
Yes, we went to our local one. It's called Kinetic Credit Union.
Yeah.
That's where we actually bank at, and we showed them everything, and we just don't have the credit to do anything about it. I mean, I'm looking at with our debt, getting this debt paid off. I can probably do it in 4 years with just my income, and hopefully she can start selling some houses. But I know that when you go into real estate, it's a while before you actually collect the income.
What is she doing? What is she doing now, Nathan?
She's captioning phone calls for people that are hard of hearing.
Okay. And how much does she make in that?
She only makes about $26,000.
26. Okay. So real estate, it takes a little bit, but you're in a hot market. So hopefully she's going to be making more commissions than 26,000. I was about to say, depending on how much percentage of her income, for her to just stay in that job for another year or two, just to be bringing in a steady income to be able for you guys to pay off this debt. But she's only making 26. So I'm like, no, she can make more doing real estate.
Could she do both, Rachel?
Yeah, she could do both.
Nathan, is that possible, Nathan, that real estate, while you're grinding it out, you're doing those things, could she do both for a season? It's going to be a busy, hard season. This just feels like a really inopportune time to lose half your income.
The issue with that is the company she works for doesn't give you an option on your scheduling. And she has talked to them about possibly going part-time, but even then, her schedule would be so whacked, and it's not a set schedule.
Sure.
Like, what you're going to be working. They change it every week, and she wouldn't be able to keep appointments and stuff like that. She's going to have to leave that job.
Okay. So, Nathan, let me get a little bit more tactical. The debt, you have the 2 car payments, and then what else do you have?
I've got the 2 car payments. We've got a $1,200 credit card.
Okay.
We've got a $4,500 credit card that we bought furniture with.
Okay.
And I've got $4,500 in collections. My wife has a $2,600 student loan, and she has a $900 collection. That's a medical bill.
Okay. So the positive thing here is that besides that $36,000 car and your $16,000, I'd sell your $16,000. Go ahead and get a $1,000 car. Go ahead and just get that out of the way, because that's going to give you just like a breath of fresh air of not having that $16,000. I would go talk to 2 more credit unions to see if there's anything they can do to get a loan for the difference to get rid of that $36,000. You may be just stuck with it, which I hate to say it, but that might be the case. And then for you guys, Nathan, it's going to be a level of intensity and sacrifice for you and your wife for probably a good 24 months. And the more you guys can bring in the income side, and we were just saying, maybe she stays at that $26,000 job, to your point, John, and starts selling houses at night when people are off work, doing open houses on Sundays, doing stuff on Saturdays, but just going full-fledged, because there's a lot of these little like $900, $1,200 that if you guys buckle down, you do a tight budget, you can start knocking some of this stuff out. And that's the beauty I love about the debt snowballs. I'm like, it's all these numbers, and besides the big car payments, it's these little ankle biters. And I'm like, man, you can just put so much intensity and start knocking those out. Yeah. But you guys have to be working together in this. And there's going to be extra work on the side.
Yeah, Nathan, if that's me and I have a dream of being a real estate agent, but I find myself in your situation, I'm going to have take a hard look at waiting 2 years and maybe doing this job and getting a nighttime gig, driving or clawing and scratching, whatever you guys got to do. This feels like an emergency, and it also feels like something that's solvable, but you may have to hold off on the dream part until you get some of the math parts really against you. Here's the thing. This is going to be hard on your marriage, so I want you to make sure y'all are connected. We're going to start you off right, so I want you to hang on, and Kelly is going to give you guys a free ticket to tonight's live stream with me and Rachel. As soon as the show's over, we're going to head out to the TV studios here. Tonight at 7 p.m., we have the Marriage and Money event. You can go to daveramsey.com/events for tickets. It's going to be hilarious. It's going to be fun. We're also going to tell you the truth about your marriage, your money, how y'all can come together, about intimacy, all these things that folks are wrestling with. And Nathan, we want to give you guys this gift to start you guys off on this journey. You guys got to hang in there with each other, running hard and fast for 24 long months. All right, let's go to Tony in Norfolk, Virginia. Tony, what's going on, man? How can we help?
Hi, how are you doing?
Good.
Okay, so let me keep it as brief as possible. I'm a high school Spanish teacher, and my salary is in the upper 40s. That's my contracted salary. And I had $15,000 of student loan debt back from college that I paid some of it off. It was higher than that. It's now down to $15,000. Wife's a homemaker. We have kids now. Just to let you know, I bought my house before I knew about Dave Ramsey, so don't get mad at me.
No, we're not, man.
Yeah, but I have baby step one already done with, and this house that I bought is actually an older house, and I did that to sort of keep the price low, but there are things that need to be repaired around here. And so I have a tax return coming in, and what my wife and I were discussing, and I just wanted to sort of get you guys' advice about it, should I throw my whole tax return at the student loans, or should I hold back a significant chunk of it in case some sort of repair pops up around here?
How much is the refund going to be?
In the neighborhood of $6,000.
Of $6,000. And what kind of repairs? Yeah. What kind of repairs are you just saying? Like, is it
for example,
cosmetic or is it?
For example, it's an older house that's on a well. It's sort of out in the sticks, and the water needs treatment to make it fully potable. Like, it's because we've been buying water and drinking that rather than drinking what comes out of the well because it needs a water softener system installed and all of those kinds of things.
Yeah. But you guys, I mean, you could have water, bottled water or whatever, right? I mean, like, you're not dependent on that well. Is that well? I mean, is it?
I'm on a well, and I got you, Tony. Yeah, if that well goes out, that well goes out, right? Then there's no toilets, showers, nothing.
Exactly.
But I guess yes. But I'm asking, like, the urgency of it. Like, is it you don't know when it's going to go out? Is it that when we bought the house they said we have 3 months? Like.
No, it's still working now. The problem is the water needs to be softened and conditioned because it's eroding our pipes, basically, like the acidity and things like that, and the water need to actually be treated because it could lead to other plumbing problems.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, your food and water, I mean, you have your basics that you need to be covered. Now, a water softener, looking at what that costs, if that's something that you absolutely need to do. I just don't want you to get caught up in this house and it keeps sucking down your money and the student loans hanging around. So it's a prioritization that you're going to have to do.
And so if the question is ultimately, should we add a couple more $1,000 just to be safe? What I don't want you to do is pull that and feel like we're going to start remodeling, we're going to start upgrading. Right. You're still in this debt emergency. Yep. But if you know you've got a big thing hanging over you, I don't have a problem with you putting that aside if you know it's going to come.
Knowing it's happening.
And if you get to the end of this year and you need to pay it off, then you can just dump that money onto that student loan. But let's get that sucker paid off. And thanks for being a teacher during this madness. What a saint.
Mm-hmm.
We were drawn to Christian Healthcare Ministries because we both had young families and we wanted to have more children. And we had also just started a real estate company and needed to find healthcare coverage that would meet our needs.
We were attracted to CHM because of its low monthly costs and the ability to negotiate medical costs down.
Established in 1981 and accredited by the Better Business Bureau, CHM is here to meet the needs of your growing family or small business. Check us out at chministries.org/budget.
We absolutely believe in it.
Triple 825-5225. This is the Ramsey Show. I'm Dr. John Deloney, joined with my good friend, best-selling author, host of the world-famous Rachel Cruz Show.
The world-famous
Rachel Cruz. You know what? One thing we do well here.
What?
We spend a lot of creative energy, time
on our titles,
titling TV shows and podcasts. Good grief.
The Rachel Cruz Show, the John Deloney Show.
There's just so many meanings about it.
It's just like, wow.
So many. Right.
So crazy.
And this is an unveiling. We've got it, guys. Here it is. All right, let's go to Matt in Cleveland. Matt, what's going on, man?
Hey, John. Hey, Rachel.
Hey, what's up? How can we help?
Hey, so I have a question. I'm starting to feel a lot of kind of resentment or frustration towards some of my friends who are being financially irresponsible. Like they'll be going on vacations when I know that, like either they'll complain about money issues or things of that issue, or they won't have jobs. I know Dave says to share your journey, but that doesn't seem to work. Listening to the show all the time, I feel like financially winning is what Dave teaches. And so, I mean, I'm kind of I feel like I'm the crazy one sometimes, but listening to your show, I feel like the normal one. I don't know. So how can I stop the feelings that I have of not everyone wins?
So whenever I hear the word resentment or resentment in general is the absolute death bell of a relationship. Whenever you cross that line to, like, I'm frustrated with you, that means you're in a good relationship. I'm annoyed, I'm angry with you, that means you're in a good relationship. That means there's things about this that you care about. When you get to the resentment part, it's an ash, right? It's hard. And when we talk to folks whose marriage, when they resent their partner, man, that's hard to come back from. My first question to you is, it feels like you have an air of superiority around your friends that I'd want to challenge you on. That you handle money differently than they do. You feel like they're being irresponsible. There's a gap between friends, like, hey, I don't make that decision, I'll make that decision. Yours feels a little bit higher than that. Do you feel like you're better than them? Walk me through where your head's at, man.
It's more just when they're going on vacations, but I mean, the next day they'll complain about their problems. I'm like, come on, like if you didn't take that vacation, like you'd have the money to do, like to pay your car rent. Right. I mean, car lease. So,
Rachel, I'd love to get your thoughts. I have something with my buddies, with my longtime friends, which is when they ask for my opinion, I'll give it to them.
Yeah.
And if they don't, I am in such a tight relationship with them that I feel free to mock their choices, and we do it in good fun because we love each other, right? But I don't hold the outcome. I just am committed to sitting with them when things are challenging, right?
Yeah.
So when they call me and they say, I went on a vacation, now I can't make rent, I get to say, well, duh, right? But I'm not going to it's not my fault that they made that decision,
That's right?
So I'm not going to hold that.
Because, yeah, there's a level of responsibility, Matt, I feel like you're taking on for your friends, and that's what's like stirring up all these emotions. And so being able to see, my counselor did this about a different relationship in my life, but I wish you could see me, but he like had these scissors and he was like pretending to cut these like strings. He's like, cut the strings.
Yeah.
Cut the strings. You're not emotionally responsible for this. So Matt, you're not responsible for their choices. And yeah, if they're just complaining all the time, then you can say, hey, are you good if I just kind of share where I'm at, what I see? And in a loving way, just be like, yeah, I mean, if that costs $2,000 and your rent $600, $1,200.
Yep.
Yeah, you could have used it. I mean, I don't know. It's just math. But it's not emotional because you're not responsible for them.
That's right. Matt, can I ask you one other question? It's going to sound like I'm coming after you, but I just want to get to a little bit deeper. Is there a part of you that wishes you were going on these vacations with them?
Part of me wishes I could go on the vacations. Cool. Part of me does wish I could go on those vacations with them.
So that's a big moment, man. And it's okay to be frustrated that the choices you're choosing to make in your life are cutting out on some fun right now. That the choices you are choosing right now are annoying, right? They are keeping you from firecrackers and whatever. I get that, dude, and it sucks. The moment you can say, I'm frustrated, and you can pause and say, am I frustrated just because I want to be going on a vacation, but I'm sticking to this budget for the time being because I'm playing a long game with my life? Or am I frustrated because I love my friends and they're making ding-dong choices? Or am I just a grumpy guy, right? If you find that I'm just frustrated that I don't get to go, then you can circle back to, I'm making a series of choices because I'm investing in my future. I'm investing in my family I don't even have yet. I'm investing in filling all these things. I want to be able to help my neighbor in any way, shape, form, or fashion. Man, then you've got to, frustration's okay, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just part of the process. And like Rachel said, you don't own their outcome, right? Divorce yourself from that.
And I think one of the hardest things when it comes, probably anything in life, but specifically money, with people in your life. So whether it's parents, spouse, no, I wouldn't count spouse in this, but friends, parents, in-laws, right? I mean, all these people in your life, and when they make different choices than you make, and you hear the complaining and all of that, I mean, that's a very, very real thing. Right. And understanding that until they ask your opinion.
Yeah. Just keep it to yourself.
Yeah. Or like you said, Matt, already, like share your story, share where you're at if you long for that. But that is a hard thing for people because there's a level of control we want to have over the people that we love, because you do see them harming themselves. You're like, dang it. But listen, they're grown-ups.
And they get to make their decisions. And my guess, Matt, is if you sat down with them, they'd say, man, Matt, when you're not around, we all talk about you. We want you just to have some more fun and smile. And so what if we figured out ways to do some things together that maybe didn't involve this or that?
Matt, that you're not late on any of your bills.
Yeah, exactly. You pay your bills every month. So thanks for that call, Matt. And next time you get sideways, pause for that one moment and say, is this just because I'm jealous? Is this because I'm frustrated? Or is this because I'm trying to hold on to somebody else's outcome, man? And free yourself from that. I love that analogy. Cut the strings. That's good. All right, let's go to Amy in Hartford. What's up, Amy? How are we doing?
Hi there, you guys. I'm doing well. How are you today?
Good. How can we help?
Sure. So my husband and I have been married for just over a year, and we're actually looking to buy our first house.
Awesome.
And we were just wondering if we couldn't run some numbers by you guys and see what y'all think about where we are with our numbers, what we can afford, what we should be looking for in a first house.
Absolutely. Yeah. Let us know. Bring it on. Bring
Let
on
Rachel know.
all the numbers,
I leave
Amy.
the math to the others.
No, I might get my cell phone calculator out in just a second, but.
Sure. So right now we have about just under $38,000 in our savings. We've managed to actually pay off all of our debts. So we're 100% set.
Awesome.
So I can't debt-free scream. My husband's not here. He's at work. It's my day off. So we've got probably about $25,000 worth of debts that we've paid off. So we're pretty good at saving and hitting it hard where it counts in regards to debt. So he makes probably about $45,000 a year. I'm just under 30. But in the next maybe 2 months or so, he's going to be going after a different job in which he'll probably make about $70,000. So we should be bringing in just under $100,000.
Okay. Do you guys have any? Is the $38,000 the only savings you have?
Correct. Yeah, we've got a little buffer in our checking. It's just under $5,000.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Well, our rule of thumb when it comes to buying a home is that I want your payment to be no more than 25% of your take-home pay. I want you to be able to put down 10 to 20% for a down payment. And that 25% take-home pay, your mortgage payment, is on a 15-year fixed rate. So doing that math, so the $70,000 job, is that a guarantee it's happening and he's waiting to transition, or is he hoping he has it?
No, it's guaranteed. It's actually family-owned business. So he's actually going to be working with his dad. So it's already been talked about and agreed upon, this pay rate.
Okay, awesome. So I would do all your calculations off of $100,000 income. But that $38,000 though, Amy, I want some of that to stay as your emergency fund. Do not spend that all on the down payment. So you guys have a little ways to go to save up for that down payment, depending on what house you want to buy, how much that's going to be. But run those numbers. That's kind of the formula we use. And you guys are in an awesome position. No debt, emergency fund. It's pretty fun.
Just being newlyweds, man. That's super cool. That's an exciting place to be, Amy. That's awesome. This is The Ramsey Show. This is the Ramsey Show. I'm John Deloney with my good friend Rachel Cruz, and we're taking your calls on life and on money. 888-825-5225. We have somebody in our lobby that wants to ask a live question. He's got the headset on. He's standing on the debt-free stage, not doing the debt-free scream.
Not yet.
But he wants to ask us a question in person where we have to look each other in the eye.
Which is kind of funny, Andy. This doesn't happen very often.
Does it not? That sounds really cool.
Yeah.
So I can't. I'm just overwhelmed to be here today.
Well, we're grateful that you're here. So what's going on, man? How can we help?
So I pastor a church in Southern Illinois. We have about 400 people in attendance. Right before COVID started, we were about to pull the trigger on building a new sanctuary. Last year, we did our first Financial Peace University class at our church. This year, we just started a new one last week. And man, it's changed myself, my wife's life. Matt and Nikki are here with us today. We've seen a variety of different families in our church just greatly changed by the program. And man, it's brought in a whole new attitude. But one of the things going through it is that we're looking to borrow around $2.2 million to build a new sanctuary. Scripture says borrower is slave to the lender. Your Dave repeats that often. And so I thought, do you guys think it's hypocritical for a church who is practicing the principles of Financial Peace University in their personal lives to go out and borrow money in a church setting?
So before you answer that, as somebody who used to meet with people behind closed doors, right, on hard conversations, you get a sense when somebody already has an answer in their heart as they're asking the question.
Even the way he framed it.
And so, Andy, I feel really strongly that you have an answer.
Yes.
Walk us through where you are and how you got there.
Okay, well, it goes a little further than that even. And so recently God's been doing a great work in me just through this last year. And so the thought process is that number one, the answer should be no, we shouldn't. We should practice what we preach. And if we tell you to do it in your personal lives, we should do it in our church life. Secondly, the state of Illinois is kind of different right now, and I don't want to go too much into that. But one of the things that we've just started at our church is to actually help families. The educational institution in Illinois is not good. And so one of the reasons for starting FPU was to help our families live within their means so they could help afford Christian education. And so this year our church started to adopt this program to where we will partner with a family for up to 50% of biblical education to every one of our members.
Wow.
We just rolled that out. And
Very
so
cool.
one of the thought processes is we would rather educate our children than build a building, but at the same time, we're literally out of room.
Right.
And so it's one of these catch-22s, but it's hard to go borrow $2.2 million when you're telling your families, man, live within your means, go into biblical education.
Beans and rice, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it's a difficult situation.
So I've got a really strong visceral reaction to this question for a couple different reasons, but I want to turn it over to the wiser, calmer one of us first. What do you think, Rachel?
I mean, you answered it. I mean, my answer is going to be it's consistent. So whether it's someone's opening a business, I never tell them to take out a small business loan. For a church, it's the same way. And what's difficult, though, I understand it's the building constraints. But I'll tell you here at Ramsey, we were in a building about 10 miles north of where we are right now, and we were outgrowing it. And it was like, man, but there wasn't cash there to buy something. And so we could have, taken a loan out and built something like this, years and years ago. Yeah. But we rented out another space, and we rented out another space, and we were in 5 different buildings, and it was so inconvenient. It was not fun. We had like a little shuttle that went around, and it was not ideal. But we move at the speed of cash around here, and we do that because we really do believe the borrower is slave to the lender, and your whole paradigm shifts. Again, whether it's a church, whether it's a business, whether it's your personal life, when you owe someone money, the way you look at things. And so to be able to say, man, we invested into this program, like what you guys are doing is how creative and how amazing and fun of that education, and just move at the speed of cash, just save over time. And it's going to be uncomfortable. It's not going to be fun, but also COVID, hello, you know what I mean? You couldn't meet for months probably, so like it really, thank God for COVID, because if you went and borrowed
it literally held us up.
$2.2 million and couldn't even use it at that point. So that may be God may have saved you right there.
and for me, it's that, and I get real personal with it. I've told teenagers for years when they were whining about their parents, this and that, my parents this, and I'd always tell them, if your parents are paying for that car, they're paying for that fill in the blank, They get to speak into it. It's theirs, right? And anytime a church, a business, me, when I hitch myself to somebody else, they get to tell me what to do. That's just the rules, right?
Right.
And I think sometimes, I find myself speaking out about. It's not because I hate institutions. I think institutions actually do wonderful stuff on broad, big scales. But man, when I owe somebody, they get to tell me what to do. And there's a lot of yelling and screaming these days, and people they forget that, man, I hitched myself to that wagon. Most recently in my life, I haven't had a mortgage in a while, right? I got one recently, and I'm having trouble sleeping because I am now in debt to the bank, right? And they get to tell me, nope, you're going to keep going to work every day. You're going to keep filling the blank, right?
Right.
And so I'm going to tell you, I think a remarkable conversation for a leader in a church right now is to stand up and say, this is going to be messy. We're going to figure it out, but we're going to do the right thing. And we are not going to hitch our wagon to a state, a bank, a federal government, or whatever. And it's not, is it going to be inconvenient? Yep. Are we going to have 14 services and do all this weird whatever? Yep, right? Yeah. But I think it's the right thing to do.
Right.
I'm just grateful for your heart, man.
Oh, absolutely. And I would say this too, as someone who attends a church, when I know, because our church is debt free, they paid off all of their building debt about 4 years ago, and it was incredible. And so now I know when I tithe that it's not going to Bank of America.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not going to an interest payment. It's literally going to a single mom, because we have a whole cars ministry, and it's buying single mom cars. That's what it's going. It's going to my pastor, right, to help pay his salary. Or the church staff. Like, I know where my money's going, and as someone who tithes and gives, I'll tell you, the heart of your congregation, to have that conversation what John just said.
Yeah.
That builds trust. Yeah. And honestly, I think that's a beautiful converation, just to say it out loud. Yeah.
And I'm only putting one foot on a soapbox here because I could get myself in trouble.
You're gonna jump.
I wish every church in America, any denomination, would have a hard look in the mirror and say, how much money are we paying to the salaries of our local bankers that could be going to feeding the kids in our communities, that could be putting kids in schools, that could be helping single moms. We do a lot of bickering and yelling about, government intrusion and social programs, and we sure like new shiny things in churches.
Yeah, that's been the heart, is that, especially with this education program, is, churches right now, we're losing 7-1. And so for every 7 kids in this generation, we're only getting 1 back in the next. And my thought was, man, if we build a building in 20 years, we cannot have people to put in it.
That's right.
If we don't start investing in our kids now. And the big heart is that, you pay this much money each month for brick and mortar, when you can invest, man, in the future of our kids coming up.
Yeah, and we're not mad at brick and mortar.
No,
right?
not at all.
But
absolutely.
It's a great thing.
No,
to have the space and all of it.
Gosh,
Yeah, it's there.
Man.
But
yeah, praise God. Yeah,
but
there's something about being in the connection.
Moving at the speed of cash. So I think you know it. I mean, even the way you asked the question, that was a great call out, John.
And I hope every single small business owner, I hope every single nonprofit leader, I hope every single pastor in this country is listening to this conversation and listening to your heart, man, because the more money we pass out in other people's salaries that could be going to healing these communities, right? The only person to fill that gap becomes the government, right?
Well, that's the greatest. One of the biggest problems we have in society today is the church isn't playing the role of the church.
Right.
America,
Amen.
He said it, not me. Just kidding.
Amen.
I'm with you, brother. I'm with you.
Amen.
So, Ben, I appreciate your
around
heart.
Here, in Financial Peace University, we talk about what could the people of God do for the kingdom of God if they had no debt? And that's on an individual basis. But we say, you put the government out of business, right? Like as believers, if you didn't have your car payments, your credit cards, your student loans, and you were able to give outrageously, that is literally the movement. That is what changes.
We did our Financial Peace University class last year. Our giving went up almost $100,000 this last year.
Amazing.
I love it, brother. Well, thank you so much.
God bless you guys. Thank
Appreciate you. Man. Pay off your debts and then give recklessly.
Yep.
First hour in the books with my good friend Rachel Cruz. Big thanks to Kelly and to James. We'll see you just in a minute.
This is The Ramsey Show.
You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studio, this is The Ramsey Show, where America hangs out to have a conversation about your life and your money. I am Dr. John Deloney, joined here with best-selling author and all-around good human being, Miss Rachel Cruz, and we are taking your calls on life, on money, whatever's going on in your heart and mind. Give us a shout, 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. Rachel, how's the family? How's everybody? How are we doing?
We're doing good.
Yeah?
I'm trying to think. Yeah, our kids are in school, so I feel like that changes the game.
Mine too,
I know not everyone around the country right now, so I still think about all you moms that are having those computers up and doing online school.
And the dads that are making home offices in
Or
their...
that too. That's right. Yes.
So laundry rooms.
So when the kids are in school, it's a great thing.
It's a
You're
whole
like,
different
yes.
world.
So we're doing great.
That's awesome.
We have awesome teachers. But no, yeah, it's great. Winston and I are doing well.
Very cool.
Talking about marriage, because tonight's
is the big event.
Is the money and marriage event, which I'm so excited about.
All right, so tell everybody what's going on this evening.
Yeah, so John and I will be hosting, teaching, talking, hanging out.
Yeah, kind of like a hangout.
I know, we want to it's going to be fun, you guys. That was like John and I's number one goal about tonight. We want you, we have a lot of fun. We have things we want to say. We have an important message to talk about, how do you get united with your spouse when it comes to money? And if you are, how do you elevate that? Like, how do you really dig in? How do you have these vulnerable, great conversations on, like we're going to talk about some really great, rich stuff, but also it's going to be really fun.
I feel like the last thing on earth I want is to sit down on a couch with my wife, hold hands, turn on the TV, and have somebody just lecture me for 2 hours, right? That just seems like the worst possible thing.
It's like the best Valentine's evening you
could have. The least
have.
romantic. The last thing I need is something else to make my life less romantic. I'm already working from home, right? Parents all over the place, kids. I don't want to sit there for 2 hours and let somebody lecture me. So we set this thing up. It's going to be a blast. And our friends George and Courtney are going to be there too. It's just going to be a good time.
It's going to be a fun evening.
And we're getting to some topics that Ramsey has not traditionally gotten into, right? We're going to be talking about...
John is forging the way. Is that a phrase?
That's not super a good way to say that, but we'll count it. We're going to be talking about our romance, man, our intimacy, man, how we are communicating with one another when things have gotten hard this last year. Things were hard before this year. This just exposed what was already hard. And so we're not going to flinch away from any of the challenging conversations. We're going to take live Q&A during the show, so please check it out.
John's really shy. John Deloney is really shy, if you haven't felt that. And so he's going to kind of tiptoe around some subjects. So it's like,
you haven't been in all these meetings, Rachel. For the last year, I've been working with other therapists or with professors or with other crisis people for so long that it's not weird to be like, oh, I'm so sorry. Tell me about your sex life. How are things going? And when we're having these conversations here, everyone's eyes bug out. It's like, 401, right? So 401k, right? So we are in new territory, but those are real questions that people are struggling with.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Well, what's funny in my line of work, if someone asks me a money question, like outside of office stuff, they're like, well, we're thinking about doing this. I'm like, okay, well, how much do you guys make?
Right.
And they're like, what? And I'm like, oh, sorry. Yeah, people don't talk about that
you don't
either.
talk about how much
I don't think about it.
That's exactly. I love that too.
So funny.
Yeah,
but
I don't talk to my friends about how much they make. That's a great. I haven't even thought about that.
No, but and I don't say it obviously to like.
No, it's just automatic, right?
Yeah, I'm like, well, how much do you make? How much debt do you have?
I love it. So anyway, go to daveramsey.com/events. Get your tickets. We can't wait to see you there. We have exceeded. They gave us this like, hey, here's our goal, right? Here's what we want to have.
Sweet John and Rachel. I wonder how many people. So they set a goal that was like realistic, and
we are way past that goal.
We are
so there's going to be
cooler than anyone gave us credit for, John.
Thousands and thousands. Please join us. DaveRamsey.com/events. Make a dinner tonight. Whoever doesn't usually cook, you make the dinner, and then y'all sit down, get the kids to bed early. You know what? I'm even giving you permission. Put them on a screen in another room. Just have them go away. We start at 7 o'clock, and just take this time to be with y'all two together, you and your spouse, be there together, and enjoy each other, enjoy some new content, and have some laughs along the way. All right, so let's grab one call here. Let's go to Chris in Boston. Chris, what's going on?
Hey, guys. It's good to speak with you. I've got a money question for Rachel and a higher ed question for Dr. John.
All right, bring it.
All right, so money questions first. I'm in baby step 2. I've been doing it for about 2 years, and I've got about 3 more years to go. $163,000 worth of student loans plus a motorcycle and a car.
Wow.
But, everything's paid off except for my student loans. I've got $90,000 left to go, so I've paid off $17,000 in the last 2 years.
Way to go, man.
Great job, Chris.
Thank you. So as I was reading the Total Money Makeover a month or 2 ago, I came across a sentence that made me question whether or not I should be investing. I believe Dave wrote that if it's going to be a longer baby step 2, you might want to do small investments while you're doing it, because if it's going to take me close to 3 years to finish paying everything off, I'll be 32 years old, and all I'll have is, $3,000 in a Roth IRA. Whereas if I invest $200 a month for the next 3 years, it'll only push my payoff date by maybe 3 months, and I'll have at least a whole nother year's worth of investment in that Roth IRA. So I don't know what you think.
Yeah, so I hear that, and that mathematically is all correct. But there's this visceral emotional sacrifice that I want you to have, which I feel like you have it because you've already paid off so much student loan debt already. But yes, our rule of thumb, black and white answer here is pause investing and everything goes toward the debt. And that's our answer pretty much all the time. So even that sentence, I would have to even go back because honestly, I don't even remember him saying that. But I mean,
I think it was on page like 128.
128. Well, I'll look it up.
We're talking to Goodwill Hunting in Boston. That's awesome.
I know. But no, and you're still young, Chris. I mean, like this, maybe we tilt the conversation if you're 65 and you have no retirement or anything. But even then, my advice would be, no, you want to get this debt out of your life. And so, Chris, you have time. I know it doesn't feel like it because you think, oh, I'm going to be 32.
Yep.
I'm going to be so old. You're not. All
right, so what's your, go ahead.
And the amount that, we'll run out of time. Go.
You sure? All right, okay, what's your higher ed question, Chris?
All right, so once my debt's all gone, I plan to cash flow a degree, a master's degree at least in psychology. Mm-hmm. And my side hustle is that I coach 2 swim teams. And, there's a huge need for counseling for our kids, and most of them don't have access to it. So my bachelor's degree is in psychology.
Yep.
And I didn't know if you knew anything about the field of performance psychology or if maybe just a master's in counseling would be sufficient. But
yeah, I think I would start with a master's in counseling, and when you move into those type of performance psychology or child psychology, that's when you're getting a clinical degree, which is at the doctorate level. I think you are great to go in and get a master's in counseling. You have that experience working with kids in that coaching area, so it's going to be a natural link there. And then you can do continuing education on the back end to get some specific things about working with kids and sports. But yeah, get that master's in counseling. We need more people working in mental health who love their neighbors. You're the guy, man. Thank you so much. This is The Ramsey Show.
What makes our show unique is that we genuinely care about our listeners. We're intentional about choosing the best advertisers to recommend. Blinds.com is no exception. They offer high-quality window treatments at unbelievable prices, and they make it simple to shop blinds, shades, and interior shutters with easy online ordering, free shipping, and a guaranteed perfect fit. Go to Blinds.com and take advantage of this week's special savings.
This is The Ramsey Show. I'm Dr. John Deloney, joined with best-selling author and good human being, Rachel Cruz. I probably should stop calling you a good human being.
I know. I like the title. It makes me feel.
She was texting Winston during the break saying,
I'm a good human being.
I'm a good human being. That's right. All right, so let's go to Blinds.com. Find out for yourself why Blinds.com is the #1 online retailer of custom window covering. You get free samples, free shipping, and with the new promos they run every month, you'll save even more. Use promo code Ramsey to get the best deal.
All right, today's question comes from Lindsay in Georgia. This is a big one. I cannot wait to hear what you have to say about this, John. I'm the sole earner, mom of 3 and 3 stepkids. My income ranges from $100,000 to $200,000, and we've paid off $200,000 of our initial $380,000 of debt in the past 3 years. Amazing. My husband is a stay-at-home dad and due to COVID, and thinks that we should be spending more money despite getting $200 a week. I pay his child support and his tuition. He is a good roommate, but a terrible husband. He has withheld all affection in the past years and prioritizes Netflix over me. Can I withhold spending money until he agrees to work on our marriage? We had counseling, but he would not follow up. I'm so exhausted, lonely, and depressed. I resent feeling I am good enough to work 60 hours a week to support him, but not good enough to be loved.
Oh, man.
That's a lot there.
That's about a year's worth of work here.
There.
So to answer, there's one question in here, which is, can I withhold spending money until he agrees to work on our marriage? The answer is no.
No.
Anybody who gets into the business of withholding, whether that's I'm withholding affection, intimacy, I'm withholding information, I've got secrets, right? I'm withholding fears, I'm withholding money.
Mm-hmm.
That's man.
Red flag.
That's not even a red flag. That's like this giant neon sign, right?
Yeah.
This feels like resentment, and this feels like this relationship. It actually feels like this relationship is over, and like you mentioned it, we're roommates now. He's got a good deal, I got a good deal, and I'm just exhausted and lonely. And the good deal on the roommate stuff is run out, right? I don't think this is a money question at all.
So let me go high level money, and then I want you to dig into this because I am curious all of your thoughts. So just a couple of things, Lindsay. And again, this is all the symptom of a bigger problem. So what I'm about to say is not going to solve your life here. But even saying his child support, his tuition, it seems like, I give him $200 a week. You guys are not a team. Right. Like, it is a his and her viewpoint, and a little bit of it sounds like you're being his mom.
That's exactly right. And nobody wants to have a romantic relationship with their mom, right? I wish there was another way to say that, but he's being mothered, right? And he's acting like a 5-year-old who needs a mom, right? And so now you get in this weird dance.
Yeah, because he needs to buck up too. Like this isn't all your fault, Lindsay, by any means. Yeah. We're not picking on you, but you do have to realize even the language you use shows where you guys are at in the marriage, even just in the question, which is fascinating. Okay.
So it becomes a dance, right? Yeah. It becomes, I feel like she's always telling me what to do. She's acting like my mom. And then that shuts off all desire, right? Which then leads to, I'm just going to retreat and hide in front of Netflix and complain about not being able to go out with my friends, which then he's acting like a 5-year-old. And then she has to, right? Somebody has to say stop. Somebody's got to just, as Terry Real says, you got to turn and stare the forest fire down. You got to look at, both of you've got stuff in your past that y'all got to deal with. Both of you got 6 kids in this house. You make great money. There's a part of me that believes you think you're better than him because you make that kind of money. There's a part of me that thinks he feels like he's a loser because there's so much here. And at the end of the day, you said it best. I'm so exhausted, lonely, and depressed. Rachel, I've heard those 3 words over and over and over this season, right? If your partner will not go to counseling with you, if your husband or wife, girlfriend, boyfriend won't go, you're left with one option, and that is to control what you can control, and that is to work on you. So you've got to go, right? If you both had the flu, that's probably not a good one. If you both had strep throat and you go fill both prescriptions and he won't take his medicine, that doesn't mean you don't take yours. In fact, that means you've got to take yours, right? Because somebody's got to be well around.
That's good, yeah.
So spend the time, the money, the energy to get refilled. It's not happening here. My hope for this marriage is that when she starts working through her challenges, which are bigger than him, bigger than this mess, that she will get some new skills and some new tools that will give her some clarity on her next path, and hopefully will give her some clarity on how to engage him a little bit differently, that he might be able to hear it. She might have peace in her heart, right? She may be able to start acting outside of this marriage, and that sounded weird. Not outside the marriage, but start.
No, I hear. Yeah.
Start having right. You're going to start exercising again. Start taking care of yourself. Start having friends and community members. Go get re-engaged with a local church or local community groups or whatever that looks like. And my hope is that your husband will see that and say, "I want that." Right?
Yep.
Blaming and criticizing and yelling never have solved the problem in a marriage. Right?
And I love that. Control what you can control, because I think that's one of the most frustrating things in life. We talked about that, even last hour. But it's like, if you don't have an option, right? You're not going to just like absolutely drag him. You can't physically drag him, and even if you did and set him in a room with a counselor,
it's not going to do any good, right?
He's not going to. He chooses to hear it or not. So being able to control what you can control. But Lindsay, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I hate that.
This is a story for a lot of couples out there are in this, and that's one thing I'm excited about our event tonight, to hopefully bring a level of clarity and tools to people. Because it's tough. But thanks, Lindsay. Thanks for your question.
All right, let's go to Sean in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. What's up, Sean? How we doing?
Hey guys, how's it going? Doing okay?
Doing great.
We're doing great.
Good. My question is, my wife and I are going to be first-time home buyers, and we're working with a credit company to get our credit up to where we need to be to get approved for a loan. And we had a deadline of April 1st, and it just seems like the credit company is kind of dragging their feet a little bit, and I'm wondering on paying certain debts off if there is a faster way to go about getting our credit scores up to where we need them to be. How do we go about doing that?
Sean, are you working your way out of debt currently?
Yes, it's not much debt. It's under $8,000.
Okay. And have you been working the plan? Have you been getting out of debt in the last 18 to 24 months, paying off debt?
Within about the past 12 months.
12 months.
Yes.
Okay. So here's the deal with the credit score. Your credit score mathematically is made up on how you interact with debt. So the fact that you guys have stopped going into debt and you're paying off debt, your credit score is going to lower. That's what's going to happen. Now, it will be basically to the point that it's not a zero, but it gets to this point where they can't calculate it anymore after about 18 to 24 months, which is about enough time that I want you guys not buying a house right now. I want you to pay off that $8,000 and get a fully funded emergency fund before you go and purchase a home. So my first rule of thumb, Sean, is I don't think you guys are in a place financially where I would advise to even be a homeowner. I would continue to stay where you are or rent for the time being.
Okay, that's what we're doing now. We've been renting for 4 years.
Yeah, and I would.
You're
I know,
close, man.
And it's frustrating. I know it is, but because what happens is when you still have this $8,000 debt over you, you have no savings. You go move into a home, and 60 days in, your heating and air breaks, and you're like, well, what do? We have no money. I guess we gotta go take out debt to repair that, or if it's on a well, if there's right, and the well goes bad, we gotta get water, so we gotta take out debt, and so it ends up being a curse in your life versus a blessing. And I want a home because home ownership is so expensive, and I know it's frustrating to rent. I know it feels like it's just money going down the drain, but it's not. You guys are being wise. You're being wise. I promise. Stay in it until you're out of debt and you have that fully funded emergency fund.
So my wife and I bought a house back in August, inspected, great. We even had some exchange with the homeowners, awesome. And within the last 4 or 5 months, new roof, new driveway, right? It just happens, right?
It's
it just
expensive.
is.
So expensive.
It's never going to be us. It is going to be us, right? So I love that. It's so hard to rent. We did it. Just hang in there. You're so close. You're so close, Sean. Do it the right way, man. And that way you can sleep with peace. This is The Ramsey Show.
Folks, it's an honor to tell you about the Army National Guard. Not only are they big supporters of our high school curriculum, but they also give you the opportunity to impact your local communities. Whether your goals are to get an education, serve your country, or have a better life, the Army National Guard can help you get there. Plus, they offer unbelievable financial benefits. Secure your future today. Visit nationalguard.com/Ramsey to find out more.
This is the Ramsey Show, 888-825-5225. We're taking your calls on your life and your money. I'm John Deloney, joined here with Rachel Cruz. Let's go to Silas in Munis, Indiana. Silas, what's going on, man? How can I help?
Hey, Rachel. Hey, John. Thanks so much for taking my question.
You got it.
So I just got engaged back this previous December.
Nice. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Hold on,
Thank
Rachel.
you.
Nice.
You said that nice.
Nah. Well, I thought December, a holiday engagement. Oh, yeah, it all went through my head.
Was it a
ahead,
Christmas engagement?
Yeah, it was the day after Christmas, actually.
Ooh,
See?
day after. Well played, man.
Nice. That's where that came from.
Did she know it was coming?
She kind of, we'd talked about it, obviously, but no, she was very surprised that when I did it was when I did it.
Boy, way to go.
So fun.
All right, I'll leave you alone. Go for it. So what's up, man?
Well, so like I said, I just got engaged, and we're planning on getting married in the end of August.
Okay.
So I'm finishing up my last semester of my undergrad, and I don't have any debt, so I myself am currently on baby step 4. My fiance graduated last May, and so she's been working for a year, and she did have a considerable amount of student debt, and so she's been working to pay that off as quickly as possible, and she's really been doing a great job. It's been amazing to me, honestly, how much she's paid off during that time even. And we both have enough money saved up right now to fully pay cash for our wedding in August. My question is, once we got engaged and we had set a wedding date, I had stopped my own investing and started kind of setting that money aside in my savings so that once we get married, I can take that chunk of cash as well as my fully funded emergency fund and put all of that money towards the debt, since at that point I'd be on baby step 2 with her. Am I thinking through that correctly, and am I doing the right thing, or should I still be investing myself and be on baby step 4 right up until we get married?
Because you're so young, Silas, because of your age, a few months isn't going to make or break it, honestly, on the investing side. So honestly, I think you did I think that's a great job. The only word of caution for anyone else listening is, you go through the process of stopping your investing, stopping your 401k, all of that, which takes paperwork. It's a process. And then if something happens and the wedding doesn't go into effect, then you have lost those months of investing. Mm-hmm. But obviously you go into an engagement believing that the wedding's going to happen. Right. So I'm sure, everything's going to be fine. So the fact that you paused it, I'm totally great with, and you're going to have a pile of cash, that emergency fund that you do have. And so you're exactly right. You'll take all of that and you guys will together start back on baby step 2 and start working your way out. So I'm curious, how much debt will she have in August, and how much do you have saved up? Like, how much of a dent will you be able to make?
Yeah. So when she graduated, she had probably around $45,000, and in August she'll probably be down to somewhere between $15,000 and $20,000.
Awesome. She killed it. You're right.
Yeah, she's been doing great. And then by that time, and with working this summer after I graduate, I'd say I could probably have around 10 saved up, maybe a little less.
It's awesome.
That's so cool.
Silas, that's a huge head start. Not many married couples get married and only have about $5,000 or $10,000 of debt.
No, that's incredible.
So you guys will knock it out. You're both motivated. I think it's fantastic. So I think you're doing exactly what you should be doing. So great job.
And Silas, one trap to watch out for.
Yeah.
What is something that she is bringing to this relationship that you would say, I'm so thankful she's bringing this. I'm going to have to work on this for the next 2, 5, 10, 15, 20 years?
I mean, I think, first of all, she helps me in my walk with Christ. She encourages me to be kind, encourages me to love others well. She really pushes me to grow so that I can lead our marriage well. And so just from that standpoint, the encouragement she gives me, to look to Christ, be dependent on him. I mean, that's worth everything.
Very cool. So sometimes when folks are getting married, one of you is sitting there debt-free with an emergency fund. The other one's got debt. It's easy to feel like I'm giving all this stuff up, or I'm the one making these concessions. I'm going to go ahead and help bail us out so we can start on a firm footing.
And she feels bad.
She comes in feeling guilty, right? I came in and immediately hooked a weight to us, right?
That's right.
And so I want you to go in with that attitude. I'm not saying you are. I'm using you as an example for millions of couples across the country. You know that she's bringing things too, right? That are so extraordinary to this that you are going to learn and grow from. And so it's letting her know all of the time, we're all in this together, right? This is our show. This is our dance. We're doing this together. You've got this. I've got that. We're going to be figuring out this is and that's for the rest of our marriage, right?
Yep.
And 5 years, 10 years, me and Sheila just had one that came up a few weeks ago. I've been with her almost a quarter of a century, and I looked at her and said, I don't think I know you anymore, right? They'll keep coming up, Silas. And so good for you. Make sure that she feels like she is the rock star in your world, and that she's not coming into this marriage dragging things down. All right, let's go to Leah in Orlando. Hey, Leah, what's going? Where are you? There you are, Leah. Hey, how are we doing?
I'm right here. Thank you both. I'm excited to be on the show and to get some advice. I have kind of a mixed question. I am single and I'm 27, and my plan was to buy a home in October, but life happens, and I met a wonderful man, and he is very special to me, and have a great relationship. It's been about a year, and so I'm stuck. You know, I've got the money saved. I've got 20% down. I've got the closing costs. I've got, everything's going great. And I'm just trying to decide whether or not I should continue with my, dream of buying a home, or whether or not I should hold off and see what happens over the next year.
Oh, that's a good question.
Have you guys had any discussions, Leah? Are you guys in the same city? Number one, are you both in the same part of Orlando?
We are about an hour apart from each other. He bought a home about 6 months before we met, and so he does have a home himself.
Okay. Have you guys had any of these discussions about where the relationship's going, where if you have, where you guys want to be?
DTR, that's what the kids call it, right? Have y'all had the DTR?
Yes, we do have, we have had that discussion. I can say that, things are moving quickly. We're very strong Christians, and we're both in our, middle to late, 20s. And so we do see a future together. And I could see us getting married maybe in 2022, 2023, and so I would hope not any later than 2023.
Okay, well, I mean, gosh, whenever there's a big life change that is coming, it's on the horizon. It may not be set in stone, but hey, I'm going to shift careers as an example, and I know I'm probably going to move closer to the city, or man, I want to do, I want to be closer to family when I have kids, and we want to start a family soon. Like you kind of know it's a little bit ambiguous, but it's coming. I probably would pause, because I would love for you, I would love a home to be at least a 5-year gig for the most part when you go and buy a home. 3 to 5 years. And so I would hate for, you to go through that, buy, and then you guys decide to sell and all that. You could, and it's not the end of the world, Leah, by any means. You're doing it by the book. But if you do want to pause for 6 months and rent and kind of just see how it fleshes out, I don't think that's a bad thing.
I always like to look at the other side of the risk, which is what happens if you don't. And really, if you keep saving money and you wait 6 months or 8 months, and then you realize this isn't the right relationship, then your down payment's 25% now.
That's right.
You've
Fair.
saved
That's
up.
fair.
You don't have lost anything except 8 or 9 months, and you're heartbroken, and then you can go buy a house. And so you're not off. It's the risk on the other side feels greater to me. So I'm with you, Rachel. I'd wait. Hang in there. Hopefully he's the one. Hey, hurry up, dude. Make it happen. Quit waiting around.
2021.
Leah's awesome. Pull the trigger. This is the Ramsey Show, 888-825-5225. It's 888-825-5225. Let's go to Michael in Kansas City, Missouri. Michael, what's going on?
Hey, not much. Thanks for having me on. What kind of opposite of one of your previous callers? I had student loan debt. My wife was able to graduate debt free. We were able to pay for our master's degrees, cash. But now, I guess my question is, through the stimulus money.
Hey, Michael, talk directly into your phone, man.
Okay.
There you go, brother. Now we can hear you perfect.
Okay. I'm kind of opposite of the previous caller. I had student loan debt for my undergrad. My wife graduated debt free. We paid for our master's degrees with cash. But my question is, I've got about $9,000 left. And through the stimulus money coming in and having a child in 2020 with the child tax credit on our new tax return, do I wait and see what the president does, or do I go ahead and pay it off?
Pay it off.
Pay it off?
Today.
Pay it off.
Today.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
If we wait around to see what bill is going to pass through what House and Congress and blah, 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 we will be waiting a long time. And so to be able to control what you can control, it's kind of like the theme, I feel like, of the show today. And it's this: don't put your future and your destiny in Washington, D.C.'s hands. So I would 1,000% be paying it off.
Michael, for me, it's a two-part thing. Number one, I got to see what Rachel's talking about ringside. I worked with some extraordinary, I'm talking about brilliant, high-character, wonderful young men and women who were in law school, who intentionally chose to go do public service work instead of going to big fancy firms where they were going to have big fancy salaries. They chose to go do this work because they wanted to serve their communities, and because if they did that work, which is hard, grueling work for a decade, the government said, we're going to come in and wipe those loans away. And then when they got to year 8 and 9, that went away. Mm-hmm. And so they had sacrificed not only their direction in law school, which, if you know anything about law school, is just such a trajectory, right? It's hard to circle back and do something different X number of years down the road. But man, they had sacrificed 5 to 7 years of major earning potential because they were given this promise, right? And so there's that. I think Rachel's super wise. Here's the other thing. There is something I don't share this with everybody, so I'm just going to tell you what's in my heart. When I took out student loans, and I had 6 figures, man, my wife and I had 6 degrees between us. And then I went and got another one that the school paid for. But I had 6 degrees between us. We had 6 figures in student loans. It was hard. I didn't realize on some of these loans I took out what I was signing, all of that stuff. I was not an educated consumer when it came to that. But at the end of the day, I signed my name to a piece of paper that said, if you will help me get through college for this money, I will pay you back. And it became an ethical issue for me that I was working good jobs. I had money. Now, this isn't everybody. I was in a fortunate position, but I had jobs where I had this money here, and if I waited on somebody to come in and pay for it, which is my tax dollars anyway, all of our tax dollars, I struggled with that personally. So you're in a situation where you're holding money in your hand right now. I think in my estimation, if you've got that money, the right thing to do is to go ahead and pay that off. Now, not everybody shares that ethical deal. That's just me, but that's just me talking to you, Michael, person to person here. But the broader conversation, as Rachel's talking about, is, yeah, man, you don't ever want to wait on those things to make their ways through Washington.
Yeah. Yeah. And depending on, getting into we don't have to go down this rabbit hole, but the student loan program has really screwed up a lot of people's lives. Yeah. Now, did they make the intentional decision to go get into those loans? Absolutely. But the whole program is so frustrating to me on that level that I'm like, I wish it just didn't even exist, right? That we went the old school way of what it looks like to go to school debt free. So when I hear the word relief, there is a part of me that I'm like, yeah, I do. I want relief for people.
Yeah,
I want
they
that.
had no idea what they were signing up for.
Sort of, yeah. Like you kind of feel like they just got screwed in it, even though I know they signed their name to it. But man, so there is something that I'm like, I don't know how it would be done or what would be done or what that looks like, because it probably, we're not going to get into the politics of it, but I would love a level of relief for people at some level, whatever that looks like. But I'm not going to wait on Washington just to deliver it. Right. So let's get to work. Because to your point too,
if you got it, you got it.
If you have it, yes. You got
it. Another thing is, I've heard some of these variants of the relief bill have different things attached to them. You're going to owe us this much community service. You're going to owe us this much stuff, which I love. I love some skin in the game on that, right? I think that's good. But at the same time, Michael, it goes back to an earlier caller we had, or somebody here in the lobby. When you take something from somebody and they attach strings to that gift, you're beholden to them, right?
That's
right. So, man, good for you. I appreciate that question. It's a good question. I know that I can't tell you how many times we get that call. People are all over the country are wrestling with, do I wait? What do I do? Do I just stop paying on that because there's no interest now? And some of it may go away later. I just want to say, keep going if you can. And I hope we can get this thing untangled. It's just a mess. 7 ways to Sunday, right? Let's see here. Let's go to Stephanie in Bloomington, Indiana. Stephanie, what's going on?
Hi. So I'm like $25,000 in debt.
Okay.
And it doesn't probably sound like a lot to you guys compared to other people.
Hey, listen.
Any amount, Stephanie is.
Oh,
there's folks at $5,000 might as well be $1 million bucks. So 25 grand is 25 grand.
Yes. Okay, fair. So I want to start like the baby steps or whatever. I've been listening to the show like every single day, so I'm like, okay, it's starting to like click with me, but I need a boost on how to like go. I have the 25,000 in debt, and I make about 33,000 a year.
What do you do for a living?
And I have I work at State Farm. So
as an insurance person, cool.
Yeah. So yeah, I just don't know where to start. I just don't know how. I don't know how to. I don't know how to save.
It's a great question,
I don't know
Stephanie.
how to start a savings when I have credit cards and stuff to be paying off. It's basically my.
For sure. Well, your first step, what you're going to want to do is to get on a really tight budget, Stephanie. So I want you to, we'll give you a membership to Ramsey Plus. So Kelly will pick up and give you that, because this is our subscription that you can get in. We have the Baby Steps Tracker, Ramsey Plus, or Every Dollar Plus in there, that's going to help you.
All the financial peace videos.
Yes. Right. FPU's in there. So take all the courses, all of that. But Every Dollar, the app, is going to be your friend, Stephanie. This is really the starting point, because for the first time in your life, you're saying, hey, I actually want to control my money versus my money controlling me. Hey, I actually want to step into this, change what I've been doing, which is going to be hard, Stephanie. This is not going to be easy. Okay, you're going to get to points that you're going to have to say no to yourself. You're going to get points to say, oh, I don't really want to do this. There's going to be times it's going to be very, very hard. But the key here is understanding change is hard. If you kept doing your normal thing that's comfortable, you're going to keep getting the exact same results that you've been getting, and you don't want to. So in order to make a change, you're going to feel that tension. So just when that happens, you can be like, oh, Rachel told me this is it. This is the friction I'm feeling. You're going to feel it. So understanding that emotionally. But then, yes, doing the budget. That's going to be your best friend, and it's your income minus all of your expenses equals zero. But that's going to include some giving and saving, because your first goal after doing your budget is to get $1,000. And that's going to be your starter emergency fund. And so that means, Stephanie, you're not going shopping. You're not going on vacation. You're not going out to eat. You're not doing any of that. You're not spending any extra money. You're doing everything you can. You're working extra, so you're going to bump up that $33,000. You're going to work at night. I mean, you're going to do whatever you can to bring in more money and cut expenses at the same time to get that $1,000. And then you're going to start working your way out of debt. So that $25,000, Stephanie, of debt, what is that? What kind of debt does that make up?
So I have my car. That's a little over $16,000, and then I have a total of credit cards. That's like $940.
Okay.
And then I have a $5,000 loan out that I had gotten that I thought was going to get me out of my old debt, but it just put me more in debt.
That's right, girl. Don't depend on anyone else to get you out of debt. You learn the hard way. So, I mean, I would even look at selling the car, Stephanie, paying off that $5,000 first, and then moving up to that $9,400 by sacrificing that lifestyle. So you can do it, Stephanie. You can do it.
It feels like a lot, but now you're on the front end of a fun adventure, man. It's going to be good. Hey, another hour in the books. Thanks to Kelly. Thanks to James. Rachel, thank you. Everybody be kind to one another. We'll be back soon. This is The Ramsey Show.
This is The Ramsey Show.
You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studio. This is The Ramsey Show, where America hangs out to have a conversation about your life and your money. I am Dr. John Deloney, joined here by best-selling author and good friend Rachel Cruz, and we are taking your calls on your relationships, on your money, on that upcoming wedding, on what to do in the baby steps. We're taking your calls on life and money. 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. And Rachel, we've said it every segment. Got to say it one more time at least. Tonight is the big money and marriage event.
That's right.
You and I are going to have an adventure down in the TV studios here. We're going to beam it to many more thousands of families than we thought, right? All over the country. Tell them all about the event.
Yes, we're so excited about this, you guys. It's our money and marriage event on Valentine's weekend. That was on purpose. The love in your marriage we're going to talk about tonight. But no, really, what does it look like? What does it look like to have a better marriage? And I think what's interesting is where we are right now in history. For some people, it's a struggle. It's a struggle financially. It's a struggle in their marriage. Like they are just having the worst year of their life.
Right.
People have said. And on the other extreme, some people have said, oh no, my business has been booming financially. We're doing great. Or my marriage, no, we've wanted to spend more time together. Now we're not traveling for work and we get to be home and it's what we really wanted. Like, so it's this extreme when it comes to these two subjects of money and marriage. So I love that right now, not only is it Valentine's weekend, but we're diving into it in this world of 2021 and the craziness that we went through in 2020 to really get, no matter where you are on the spectrum, to get you to a place where you know each other deeper, you love each other better, all of it, and working on the same page when it comes to your money. So
one of the things I've heard, we get the bell curve, right? We get the way outside here, the long tail here, the long tail here. My marriage is better than it's ever been. We had to figure some stuff out this year. And then with the politics and the election and COVID response, all the stuff, we've got folks over here going, I don't know who you are, right? I have no idea who I married, right?
Yep.
I kind of knew, I just never asked, and now we super know. And then you've got millions of people in the middle, Rachel, who, man, they've actually become really great coworkers. They've turned their home, their work from home, their homeschool from home into a well-oiled machine. They don't like it. It's not optimal, but they have figured it out. They've become great roommates. But man, they've lost that desire, right? That spark. Like at the end of the night, dude, I'm going to bed. Like I've seen you all day. We're good. High five. Good night, right? And there's the other side of it, right? Which is folks still figuring out the chaos of that home, right? So wherever you happen to be, tonight is for you. We're going to give you some actual real tools that you can put into practice tomorrow,
Yes.
right? That you can
And
wake
have
up tomorrow.
fun.
Yeah,
We said it earlier, but it's true. Yeah, you're not going to just sit there, be bored, and
the last thing I want
your
right now
spouse dragged you to
is
watch
sitting
this
on a
thing
couch.
for an hour and a half, and you thought, man, we could be watching Yellowstone, but nope, here we are.
But John and Rachel are sitting on a chair lecturing us. It's not going to be like that at all. It's going to be super
It's gonna
fun.
be
We're
really
going to have fun, man. So come hang out to us. Go to DaveRamsey.com to get your tickets. DaveRamsey.com/shows. Get your tickets. And we hope to see you there. It's going to be a good time.
And if you're a Ramsey Plus member,
It's
you
free.
get it for free.
Yes.
So log in tonight and your Ramsey Plus membership, and you can stream it for free.
If you've been thinking about doing the Ramsey Plus free trial, you can get online, get the Ramsey Plus free trial, and get this event tonight
right.
free too. So there's a bunch of ways to watch, but we hope to see you there this evening. Let's kick it out to Christine in New Zealand. Hey, Christine, what's going on?
Good, thanks. How are you guys?
Super. What's going on? How can
Calling
we
from
help?
New Zealand. Christine, what time is it there?
It's 10 a.m.
Okay, very nice.
cool.
Okay, what's your question for us?
We're currently on baby step 3, but looking forward to our next step, which potentially might be baby step 3B. But we've got a unique situation in where we work. We live on a site, and that is for free. And we plan to have this job for, the next 10 to 15 years. So just wondering whether we do baby step 3B or move on to 4.
So you are, you're in it. Yeah, that is a unique position because I had 2 answers flash through my head as you were speaking. One of them is, if you're going to be in that business for 10 years, you don't have to pay for housing. Start investing, start looking, if your kids are going to get a higher education outside of high school, what that looks like to save for. Start working that and just be saving a ton during that time, which is amazing. But then the other part of me is like, man, but I would love for you guys to invest and have real estate. A paid for home is a big part of people's overall financial plan, and how they win long term is having that. That's such a big asset that I would hate for you guys to completely miss out on. So for you guys, is home ownership something that you want down the road eventually?
Yeah. So I guess we're quite young still. I'm 32 and my husband's 37. So when we potentially leave this job, which we really love, so that's why we're planning not to do anything anytime soon, but we don't want to walk away with, we'd love to walk away with a pile of money that we've saved that we can put a huge down payment on something.
Yes.
Obviously have a smaller mortgage at that point. Because just with our job and where we live as well, we don't really want to own something whilst we're in this job. Because we don't really want to be, landlords or anything like that. And we can't really dedicate time to get back to the house.
Yep.
For maintenance and stuff like that.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think you're in a great position, just like you said. I would definitely start investing. And then on the side, hey, we have a 10-year goal that we want to put 50% down on a home or 75% or 100% down, whatever
right.
it is, and to look out and have that goal out there that you guys are working at together. And I think that's perfect.
Hey, Christine, what's your job? Where do y'all work?
I don't think you have them over there, but we're motel managers, so we provide accommodation, and part of that is we have our house attached to the reception, so we're on site all the time.
So I had the opportunity for the last, 15 years really to work with colleges and universities, and one of my roles there was working with folks who lived on campus, in the residence halls with these students. These are extraordinary people. The work you do, it never ends. It's 365, 24/7. But they lived on campus. And what I would tell you is I always had folks who had multi-year plans. I'm going to do this for 3 to 7 years, and I'm going to get this. There's an accelerated aging that comes with living where you work, right? And so, Chris, it begins, you have a 10-year plan, and then 2 years in, it's like, well, about a 5-year plan, right? It's just a lot to ask of yourself, and there's something eventually where you want your own yard, you want to have your own rules, you don't want to have people knocking on your door at 3, 4 in the morning or whatever, just as a part of that gig.
And so,
yeah, I'm with you there. Save up that money, and man, being able to put 100% down on a house, how cool is that, right?
But your quality of life in that type of job is
It's a big
It's
deal.
a sacrifice. That's a great point.
So yeah, stock that money away, invest, and then when you're ready to transition out, whether it's in 2 years or 10 years, and you'll be able to smile at the mortgage office with what you're able to put down. Thanks for the call, Christine. This is The Ramsey Show.
Cliff and I joined Christian Healthcare Ministries because we really liked the concept of Christians sharing each other's burdens. And we really experienced that firsthand when Cliff was diagnosed with heart disease. It was just such a relief to know that financial burden was going to be taken care of.
CHM is the original and longest-serving health cost-sharing ministry. Get started today and check us out at chministries.org/budget.
Oftentimes, people go years overpaying on insurance without even realizing it. That's why we recommend checking up on your coverage with one of our endorsed local providers, or ELP agents. ELPs are independent insurance agents. They're not like captive agents from the insurance company you currently use who can only offer you one quote from that company. Independent agents have the freedom to shop around at multiple companies to get you the best deal. And you know what? Most people who work with an ELP insurance agent save around $700 a year. That's $700 you were just giving away to an insurance company before you got better, more affordable coverage. It's free to have our agent shop around for you, so you've got nothing to lose here. Nothing to lose. It's free. Text insurance to 33789. Insurance, text it to 33789. All right, let's go to Tommy in Ventura, California. Tommy, what's up, man? How we doing?
Hey, Rachel and John. Thanks for taking my call.
You got it, brother. What's going on?
John, I'm a huge fan of yours, and when you step down off that wagon, I'm team gummy candy all the way with you.
Hey, listen, I am in partnership with a Navy SEAL right now, and I have to text him every day how many days I am sober from sugar. Otherwise, I've got a hard
Really?
workout. It's hard right now, man. There are some things. Yeah, you're going to get me all thinking about gummy candy, man. You're going to get me all screwed up, Tommy. So what's up, brother?
So I'm 29 years old, and I own a wedding venue with my wife. A few years ago, we got hit by the wildfires, and we were forced to shut down until we rebuild. We're finishing up our permits right now, and we should be open next year. And through our downtime, we revamped our business plan to being solely focused on the venue, to kind of being all-inclusive, to include the venue, rentals, food, all the way down to wedding planning. So we have a friend who is a part-time wedding planner. In the past, she has been vocal and clear that she wants to work for us one day. In the past, we were open to it, but we know now that we're not going to employ her because she doesn't have the experience we want. And in the past, we've been burned from hiring friends, so we've just made a rule that we're not going to hire friends, but we'll recommend them. We have not told her our plans for expansion, but we feel we should let her know what's happening in us hiring full-time planners and not hear it through the grapevine. We want to be kind and compassionate to her, but also preserve the friendship. We know it's not going to be an easy conversation and that there will be hurt feelings, but we want to still have that friendship, and we want to go about it in a wise way. I want to see what you guys had to say.
Man, who are you, dude? Every time
already pretty cool.
I think the internets make me just sad about the future, I get to talk to a Tommy from Ventura, man. It reminds me that there are so many extraordinary people out there. Tommy, here's the thing. This is one of those conversations that is like it's going to be hard and it's a blessing at the same time, okay? I would tell you the number one thing that you and your wife need to do going into it is have exactly what you're going to say. And it's going to sound dorky, but maybe even go over it with each other Write down what you want to say and what you communicate. One of the things that people do when they talk to loved ones in hard conversations is they start babbling and they start over communicating and over apologizing and over everythinging. And then next thing you know, she's either hired or you've gone one step too far. It's because you're not accountable, right? You just say too much. And so keep it short. Keep it like, man, you're going to be a person of dignity. You're going to treat her like a person of dignity, which is awesome. The second thing I would do is really go into it with an open heart, knowing you can't hold the outcome here. If she chooses to hate you guys, that's her choice. It's not as a result that y'all did the right thing for you and your family and your business, okay? And anytime you have these vulnerable conversations, these truth-telling conversations, they're never comfortable. And this happens with marriages. This happens with kids and their parents. It happens with employees. It happens all the time. If you got this skill of having hard conversations, being short, direct, the say it directly. Don't beat around the bush. No, we love you, but we're not going to be able to employ you at this time. We've got this entire vision. We need someone with a lot of experience, and you're not quite there yet. We're so grateful. We love you as a friend. I know this is super hard for everybody. We hope you'll still be our friend in the future. Man, we'll love to use you if we can, but right now we're not going to bring you on. And that's the end of the conversation. Okay.
Do you guys recommend like an in-person, just like informal, like a breakfast, lunch, or what would you say is the best way to do that?
Kelly and James are laughing at me because I love having conversations over breakfast. This is one, it depends on the level of your friendship. This is one that feels simple enough for me and quick enough for me that I don't know that I would. It definitely has to be in person, right? Definitely need to meet in person there. But it could be over coffee. It could be a broader conversation. I don't think it needs to. This one feels pretty slow, pretty quick, unless this is somebody that you are super tight with. Your kids play together. Y'all have been through the ringer together. Y'all went to college together, something like that, where it's going to be, I'm going to go over to your house and we're going to have a conversation. Yeah. I've made a few of those in my lifetime.
That's great. Just not over text.
Don't do anything over text, right?
That's what I thought.
Yeah, and man, I'm grateful for your heart, Tommy. That's good. Rachel, what do you think?
Yeah, for sure. And I would say, I think you and your wife being on the same page. I know conversations that Winston and I have had to be in together. We know we have a plan going in. So no, I don't think that's cheesy at all, John. I think that's very, very wise. And such a great point that people babble. That is me. I will keep going. Oh my God, I've just said too much.
And then all of a sudden I've hired him, right? I didn't hire him for this.
Actually, I think you're great.
Yeah, that's right. And we're hiring a full-time nanny. It's going to be you, right? Or you end up saying you try to defend yourself and you insult somebody, right?
That's right.
You don't treat them with respect and dignity. And just your whole spirit about this, Tommy, is so good. And it's a good reminder for me to always remember who's the listener, right? Who's the person receiving this information I'm giving, right? So good for you, brother. All right, let's go to Jorge in Detroit, Michigan. Is it Jorge or George, brother?
It's Jorge. How you guys doing?
Jorge, all right. Good, man. What's going on? How can we help?
Thanks for taking my call, first of all. I just need some advice from you guys. I listen to the Dave Ramsey Show and you guys every once in a while, so I know you guys are good, solid advice. At the moment, I just kind of feel trapped. I'm 29. I started a business, a photography business, about 3 years ago. And the only reason I did that is because I was kicked out of high school in 9th grade. And I never went back. I never got no degrees, nothing, to be honest. And I knew I had this talent. So I was just like, why not go ahead and pursue it, you know? So I started doing that. And I'm to the point where I'm doing pretty decent. My business is growing how I like it to be. And now I'm to a point where I have no degrees, but I'm an entrepreneur. I own my own business. I've been in rooms with people and I've worked with people who have all these degrees, from Harvard to Spelman to just, you name it, doctors and lawyers and everything. They have no idea that I have no degrees. And I'm going to keep it that way.
There you go. Good for you, brother.
Yeah, the only thing I was questioning was this. Should I even consider maybe going back and getting that GED or getting any degree at all? Or should I just keep striving the way I'm doing it and just see what I can do without it? That's my question to you guys.
Man, Rachel, you mind if I hop in on this?
Go, John. You're the
So there's a two-pronged answer to this, okay? Tell me if I'm right or wrong here. Number one, you're real smart. And you probably lined up next to if I went and found 25 guys, I bet you would be confident that you would outwork them. Is that correct?
Oh, For sure, yeah.
And I bet you've got a standard of excellence that rides real high. When you're dealing with people's photographs, you're dealing in the business of people's memories, and my guess is your attention to detail and excellence is high. Is that right?
That is very correct, yeah.
All right. So when it comes to excellence, perseverance, hard work, you've got those three things. And you also have a demon in your soul about getting kicked out of school in 9th grade, don't you?
I do.
And there's something about you walking into that room where you know, everybody in this room put their pants on today. I've got value just like everybody in this room. But they told me back when I was 14 years old that I'm not good enough. Am I right?
You pretty much got it, yeah.
All right, so here's the thing. You don't need to go to school to learn work ethic. You don't need to go to school, brother, to learn how to grind and talk to different people and learn all of these soft social skills. But if you're my best friend, if you and I were just hanging out and having a drink on the back patio, I would tell you, I want you to take that 14-year-old boy, go get that GED for nobody else but for you. Nobody else but for you. And there's some kind of closure, some kind of healing that's going to come from that. Do you need it? No. But man, would it launch you? Yeah. So man, I want guys like you in my community, brother. It's so good. I say go get that GED. And if you don't, you're still good.
What makes our show unique is that we genuinely care about our listeners. We're intentional about choosing the best advertisers to recommend. Blinds.com is no exception. They offer high-quality window treatments at unbelievable prices, and they make it simple to shop blinds, shades, and interior shutters with easy online ordering, free shipping, and a guaranteed perfect fit. Go to Blinds.com and take advantage of this week's special savings.
This is the Ramsey Show. I'm John Deloney with my good friend Rachel Cruz, and we're taking your calls on money, relationships, and life. 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. Rachel, we got a lot going on here on the Valentine's Day extravaganzas, huh?
That's right. Valentine's Day, everyone. Sunday. Don't forget it. And one of the big things when it comes to your money and to make progress is to be on the same page with your spouse. You have to learn to work together as a team, reach your goals as a team, and really seeing yourself as one. And to help to get on the same page, we have gathered some of our best-selling books, budgeting tools, and bundles for couples in one big sale. And you can save up to 83% on gifts that's going to help you reach your financial goals. So this is the last week for this sale. Do not miss it. And don't miss, again, our Money Marriage live stream, which is happening tonight. You can still get tickets. It's myself, Rachel Cruz, and Dr. John Zaloni will walk you through how to have a fun date night and have great conversations when it comes to your money. So you can visit DaveRamsey.com/store to get your live stream tickets and the Valentine's Day's gifts to help you build a bright future with your spouse. And that sale ends February 14th, so Sunday.
So you've been having these conversations with couples for years and years and years, long before I was around. Why is it so hard for couples to come together around their money? When I offhandedly mentioned something the other day about having a joint checking account, and you would have thought, you know what I mean? It was just like I was speaking like a different language, and it didn't occur to me that was such a radical notion, right? So you've been talking to these couples. Why is that so hard for people to come together?
I mean, I think it's a couple of things. I think ultimately we're told this lie out in our culture that, just because you're married, you still need to be independent. You still can't fully depend on your spouse. You still need to have your thing to make sure that you're okay in case something happens. Like there's all these kind of messages, or that you deserve to spend what you want. You make more money, so go and do it. Like there's like this division when it comes to money, and it feels different. I don't know. Tell me if I'm wrong, but it feels different than even parenting.
Yeah,
it even feels different than like your relationship with your in-laws and like talking about boundaries like around holidays.
Yeah.
Like all of that feels, money still feels like it can be this independent entity within marriage, and people believe that.
It's a tool. So I know over the last 25, 30 years, we've still got a long way to go as a country, but as women have gained more economic independence, it's shifted some conversations, right?
Yes,
like
yes.
It's women have more accessibility, more ability to move in and out of hard situations. But it feels like when I was just thinking when you were saying this, when couples you're married, but you still need to make sure you're going to be okay.
Yes.
That's going into a situation, but leaving a crack in the door, right? Which we all know if you do that relationally,
right,
you're just setting it up
Absolutely.
for it not to hold, right?
Yeah. So I think we have been told that you need to run on these separate tracks. So what does that end up doing? That ends up literally ruining marriages because you'll see that money, like you said, it's just a tool. And so I talk about it in my new book, but it's true. I'm like, so many life problems and marriage problems masquerade themselves as money problems.
Yep.
It's not really that you have a budgeting problem with your spouse. It's that you guys have no idea how to have empathy with each other. You have no idea how to communicate. Like it's other issues. It's coming out as money, but it's really some other things going on within the marriage. And it's like this band. It's like, so people live these separate lives because it's just easier.
We gotcha.
Like, oh yeah, it's just easier if he has his and I have mine.
And we will go 10 years just quote unquote not avoiding that big hard conversation because it's quote unquote easier, right? And then you end up your wreck's coming either way, right?
Right.
You're gonna have to have a conversation at some point.
That's right. So the avoidance of it, people think that they're doing a great job. And I'm like, no. And so that's hard too. I think people are just opposites. So like Winston and I, we, from the beginning, because we got married so young, we have quote unquote, been one when it comes to our money. We budget together, all that. But still to this day, we just had this conversation, it was 2 mornings ago, about a big purchase I want to make. And I'm like, oh, okay, we have the money. Like, can we just do it? And he's like, I just don't know if I can swallow the price tag, babe. He's like, because it's an experience. So it goes away after we do it. And he's like, how many more things could we buy? Like, we're just opposite in how we want to even use money at times, right?
Okay.
And it takes it's a give and take of me hearing and understanding that, him hearing and understanding me, getting out of the place of neediness that I have in the purchase, his fear and what that really is, right? So there's like all these root issues. And when you can get to that and have a good conversation, then you can say, hey, we are different, but we love each other well and serve each other well. And there may be a give and take on certain months, but we make it work.
So tell me if this analogy works. I had somebody or several people reach out and say, I would never have a joint checking account again. I'm never going to be unified in money because one time I got hurt real bad, right? Somebody, my previous girlfriend, a previous spouse took advantage of me. I'm never doing it again. Previous boyfriend took off with everything I have. I'm never doing it again. It's always going to be separate tracks from here on out. And the analogy that went into my head is sometimes I've gone to a store and bought an appliance and I took it home and plugged it in and it worked for like a month and then it broke. Does that mean I should never have a refrigerator again, right? It doesn't. It just means that I got to go through a hard process to get that whole thing out, box it back up, take it all the way back, get my money back. It doesn't mean that it's broken just because you got hurt one time.
That's right.
You got to grieve it and feel it.
And what makes me sad too is those people that make those absolute statements in their minds, they go into another relationship.
They're setting themselves. I didn't think of that.
And that other person now is having to reap the terrible results of something that they didn't have anything to do with.
So they're absolutes. Their attempt to protect themselves is guaranteeing the next relationship isn't going to be successful.
Yes. And that they're having, and that poor other spouse or significant other is paying the price for someone they didn't even know. Yeah. And they're like, no. And then that, and instead of saying, hey, I'm going to be vulnerable and this is going to be hard and scary.
And I got burned bad.
Yes, but I'm going to allow myself to open up because that's going to show trust.
Yeah.
Right? Within the marriage. I don't know. You're the psychologist.
Well, if you take the word vulnerability, a synonym for it is exposed, right?
Yes.
You are putting yourself in a position that somebody could hurt you.
That's right.
That is unfortunately, the only way you can truly be loved is to be to offer yourself up that way.
Yep.
And if two people offer themselves up that way, then you can come together. If you hedge your bets in a relationship, man. So that's great wisdom. I appreciate that. I've been caught off guard by it, and I love.
Isn't it funny? That's like the one thing. If I post on social media, I can say, cut up your credit cards. I hate student loans. Like I can throw out these things. But if I say, join your checking accounts, you would think
come out, right?
I ran over someone's dog.
Yeah.
And I meant to and was like, ha ha, here I am in my car being this terrible person. Oh, people get opinionated.
But I can hear that it's scary, right?
That's right.
If you've been hurt, if you got no model for it.
That's right.
But I want people to get beneath that and say, man, if you're going to be with somebody, if you're going to pledge, I'm going to be with you forever, that means you are all in. All cards on the table.
Yeah, you're not joining your checking account with some dude you met at the bar.
Right.
You're doing it with with the person you're married to that you're committed to for life.
Go all in.
You go into that marriage ceremony and say, we are doing this for life. That's what marriage is.
When you go all in, you could lose, right? But that's a risk. That's the beauty of it. I love it. All right, let's go to Andrew in Toronto. Andrew, what's going on, man?
Hey guys, how are you? Thank you for taking my call. It's awesome.
You bet, man. What's up?
So my question is that my fiance and I, we sat down, we spoke about baby steps. We have just entered baby step number 2. Very excited to get the snowball debt rolling. But then now it just hit me that we have a wedding to now prepare for, save for. Just I kind of gone to like a roadblock. Like what would be this? What would the steps be? Do we stop with the baby step number 2, save for the wedding, somehow do both? Just kind of want to get your guys' take.
So let's do this. Lucky for you, Andrew, we have a marriage and planning expert in Rachel Cruz right here, and also a baby step expert, all in one human being. After the break, we'll come back, and then we will pick up from there. You are listening to The Ramsey Show. Scripture of the day is 2 Corinthians 1:5. For as we share abundantly in Christ's sufferings, so through Christ we share abundantly in comfort too. Abraham Lincoln says, be sure to put your feet in the right place, then stand firm. Good old Abraham Lincoln. All right, so we're talking to Andrew in Toronto. Andrew, you are getting married. You are planning for a wedding, and you're in baby step 2. You're also trying to pay off debt all at the same time. Do I got that about right?
Yes, sir. That's it.
Okay, Andrew, how much will you guys be making together, combined income, after you get married?
110.
Okay. And how much debt will you both have going into the marriage?
That would be about probably 60,000.
60,000. Okay. Okay, well, so the rule with baby step 2 is when you have a big life event coming up, maybe you're getting laid off, you'll be losing a job, maybe you are pregnant and expecting, you have a wedding coming up. There is a time and place to pause the baby steps and to save on the side for this event that is coming up. So that would be the same for the wedding. But for you guys, and again, there's not a dollar amount specifically or a percentage that you guys need to save. Number one, don't want you going into debt for the wedding. And then number 2, you guys have debt. So knowing, okay, we're probably not going to have this crazy, extraordinary, massive, expensive wedding. We're going to do it as well and as much as we can love it and it be inexpensive, and being aware of the cost, all of that, because what that's going to do is what you spend on the wedding and then what you don't spend on the wedding is going to affect how fast you guys pay off this debt. So So focusing, yes, I would pause baby step 2 to answer your question. Save up a little bit for the wedding, making sure that that's covered, and then you can press play on baby step 2 once you have that amount of money or after you guys get married. But and John, you can speak to this more and more. But I'm like, the wedding is wonderful, right? And it's especially the woman in the relationship you love. It's what you dream about. It's your wedding day. It's fantastic. But it is a day. As wonderful and as celebratory it is a day. And we just live in a culture that we go insane for weddings.
So we were going to talk about this on a previous show, and I'm glad you're here. So let's do this.
Okay.
So help me if
I can remember.
Help me figure this out. Number one, I think that we as a culture have stripped out all traditions, all ceremony, all pageantry, and I think that's to our detriment. We go in and we just mow down these wonderful but small older homes. We knock down grandma's house and we look at it as how many tall and skinnies can we shove into this square footage, right? And we take this home that will be here for another 300 years and we just knock it down because we can get some more ROI on that way. I think that's just a cultural thing. Why are we still doing weddings? Let's get rid of them. So there's a part of me that is all about, man, weddings used to be a big deal, right? A week long, 2 weeks. They were celebrations, right? There's that. Then the other side of it is people are spending $30, $50, $100,000 plus on a day. And that sounds insane to me, right? My wedding was so great, so fun, and I know it wasn't that, right? So walk me through that balance between the importance of the day versus, man, we've kind of lost our mind a little bit on the circus and the ceremony of it all.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm talking out both sides of my mouth, right? But
no, it's true. But it's true. It's a balance. And I think that that's the key. And I think knowing your motivation on why you want the kind of wedding you want is important.
Okay.
Right? Like I want the most beautiful centerpiece. I want all of this because I want the great pictures. I want people to see it. I want people to be impressed. Like, what's your motivation to have these things or for it to look a certain way? And I bet if you stripped it down to say, okay, let's just say nobody sees the wedding but you and your fiance, probably gonna do a little bit less.
What would it look like? So you know many more brides than I do. You hang out with them, right? Let me say it this way.
I hang out with
that sounded weird.
all the brides.
I
hang out with them.
You've had more conversations about wedding in your lifetime than I have. How about that? How much of a ceremony, how much of the extravagance of a wedding is so that we can have those pictures?
Probably a significant part. Yeah. And I think people, because this is how I feel even 11 years after marriage, you want people to have fun. You want people to come to your wedding and be like, that was a fun wedding. And that's how I am.
I love that idea. Yeah.
Like, man, that was a fun, great wedding. So like that would be the pressure I'd put on myself today. But yeah, your pictures, I mean, whether it's the albums or what you put online now, like all of that. I mean, yeah. I mean, I feel like that's a big part of it.
So I don't have a solution. I like the conversation because I feel like
I think knowing your heart, your motivation on why. What's your why? And do you have the money? And then here's the other, talking on both sides of our mouths. Even if you have the money, do you
is it a good use of your money?
Is it necessary?
Yeah.
You know, we're at the point, is it like so is it a percentage of your net worth? Maybe that's, I don't, whatever it looks like, but it's an interesting conversation because people can do it on these extremes.
Right.
And it's a whole industry. I mean,
people
are taking out loans to go get a photo booth, at the reception. And you're like, no.
Or you can just cram all your buddies in the backyard and have a great old time. And at the same time, there's something about that legacy, that big event that everybody comes to.
Right.
It's the centerpiece event. So I don't have any good answers.
We just confused you all, America.
I just was hoping Rachel could help me, and she cannot. So, all right, let's go to Corey in Des Moines, Iowa. Corey, what's going on, brother? How can we help?
So I... with this cold temperatures coming, we got essentially laid off for a week and a half.
I'm sorry, man.
No, it's we're doing okay, but how do you plan for that in baby step 2? Because $2,000 emergency fund, I make quite a bit of money, low 200s, and losing a month or a week and a half of pay. How do you plan for that outside of baby step 1? because we're getting pretty gazelle intense on baby step 2, but now we're in this crisis of sorts. And is that something that you balance the year and save some money throughout the year for this? And how much would you save being gazelle intense?
Corey, do you know when those times that you won't be working and not getting a paycheck, do you know ahead of time kind of when those are coming, or do you know the day of? How much of a time frame do you have?
So with the weather right now, we found out last Friday that we would not work this week.
Okay.
And then Monday and Tuesday, it's going to be cold temperatures again. So as of right now, we won't be working until Wednesday.
Okay. So is it when you don't work, is it like a week at a time, or do you foresee like a month you'll be out of work at any point? Or is it usually short term?
Usually it's short term, and I've been doing this career for 20 years, and this is only the second time it's happened, so it's rare.
Yeah.
But I was kind of unprepared, and hopefully in a year I won't have to worry about it.
Sure.
But
yeah, I would be great.
Other people too.
Because our goal for you, especially on baby step 2, is that you cover your 4 walls, that you have your food, your shelter, utilities, and transportation, that you have that covered. And I don't want you getting behind on debt either. And so there's a level of your standard of living that you have, having a budget, knowing, okay, these are the bills that we absolutely have to pay. And I'm not talking about clothing or miscellaneous or out to eat. Like, these are the things that absolutely have to be paid. And if you know, okay, I'm not going to have enough time to save for those things because I get a day or 2 days notice, I would be okay with you setting some money aside, knowing that I'm in an industry that I won't get a paycheck for a week, and knowing that is a reality. That's okay, Corey, to do and to plan for that. Now, that's not to say, if you have a salary job out there as an accountant, that's not me saying that, okay, you need to save more than $1,000 in baby step 1, because you have a predictable income. But when you are in an industry, like you said, Corey, that there's a chance you won't have the money, and that $1,000 will not cover your bills. Putting some aside is okay.
Corey, how long have y'all been? You know what? Keep it going. We just ran up against the clock, so hey, we want to encourage you in your debt-free journey. I want to thank James Childs and Kelly Daniel for their superior production of today's show. Thank Bobby, the engineer. Rachel, you got a future in this if you'll keep working hard.
It's going to be great, John. Excited about tonight, Money and Marriage.
We'll see you at the Money and Marriage event, DaveRamsey.com to get your tickets. Thank you for joining us. Be kind to one another. This has been The Ramsey Show.